As of the time of this video, Assetto Corsa EVO has just released, and in the current climate where most big games are coming out looking and running like shit left and right, flopping all over the place, I'm curious to see how the game runs, most of all out of everything. I have what is, by modern standards, a pretty weak PC, by the way. It looks pretty, but all the components are getting on a bit. My graphics card's a 9-year-old GTX 1080 Fe. But I have high hopes for this. The game runs on a new version of the in-house engine that was built for Assetto Corsa 1, and that was extremely well optimised. I sit 90Hz in VR with graphical mods. I mean, even Competizione, which is built on the Unreal Engine, gets me 60 FPS, so I'm hoping that this is going to be good. Okay, so the first time I launched the game, I was getting about 50 FPS in the menu on the optimised settings, which were about low to medium and a bit of high from what I saw. It's not terrible, but it's not great. And also in this early build, the UI is sluggish to use. Like it feels like it's running at like 20 FPS. It's a bit like how the BeamNG UI used to feel, if you know what that felt like. Oh, and also when I first loaded the game, the first few times it was like this. I don't know what this is about, to be honest. Wow. Well, anyway, how does the game perform? Okay, so for starters, I fancied seeing how badly I could make it perform. So I started a bit overkill, 1440p with the Ultra Mega preset, and it performed pretty predictably. Lower than 30 FPS, cinematic sort of experience. But then I went on the replay of that lap, and then I tested all the other settings in succession using the same replay for comparison's sake, and strangely it didn't even improve performance that much. As you can see, I've set them all out there so you can see what they look like on each setting and the FPS they're getting, but I mean, for the trade-off you're getting, is it worth 10 FPS? I mean, I wasn't expecting a 9-year-old card to be able to run a 2025 racing game at Ultra 1440p, but very low. I would have expected a bit more than 45 FPS. I would say the game looks decent, even at that very low, but not enough to warrant it running at like a third of the frame rate of the original setup. You can see what the graphics settings do, but they're not as big of a difference as you might think apart from very low, which in most games it just kind of drops off a cliff, so I'm not really surprised by that. And here's the difference between very low and ultra. Is it worth the FPS cost? To try and squeeze a few more frames without sacrificing 1440p, I tried turning on the FSR 3 as well, but at the moment the implementation in this game is horrendous. I don't like FSR that much anyway, to be honest. I think it's pretty ugly, but it does help me to squeeze out more frames, and it still looks better than bog standard upscaled resolution would in most games. But in this case, it somehow lowered my FPS, and it gave me smearing and input lag pretty bad. Please fix. Okay, yeah, I did try out VR. Oh no! No, this is not a joke. This is how the game genuinely performs in VR. Absolutely diabolical. I mean, there's visual artifacts all over the main menu. The game runs at a whopping 4 frames per second. Okay, I'm sure Kunos are going to fix this soon, because surely they wouldn't have shipped a feature that cannot run on a 4090. It's probably just some bug somewhere that they had a chance to patch, but it's still funny. Okay, so do I think this game is playable on my PC, and obviously PC similar to mine? Well, at the moment I can't reach 60 FPS at any settings with any preset or with FSR, and I don't think that's acceptable. I can't get above 40 to 50 FPS. So while I'd say it's alright, I can play it that far, I recommend holding off until it performs a bit better. Especially if you want to play in VR. If you want to play in VR, stay at least 6 feet away at all times with a face mask. It's going to give you super cancer. So yeah, just stay away from it completely. I reckon that part will be better quite quickly though. weeks to a few months at max. It seems like a pretty big issue. I'd stick with the original Assetto Corsa until the game's in a better state, but if you want to buy it now to support the devs, do it. They will follow up on their word, they will deliver an amazing game. It's just we're in the earliest stage of early access and it's going to take a while to get there. If you remember back to Assetto Corsa Competition, that also had a shit launch, but it's now great a few years later, so have hope. The game will get better, it's just going to take a little bit to get there. I suspect that by the end of this year, this game will not only run far better, feel far better, and have a lot more content, it'll also probably supersede the original game in enjoyment and fun. But at the time of writing this, yeah, just stay away from it if you don't have a really beefy rig, and if you want a more polished experience, definitely just wait it out, because it's early access, we're at the beginning of early access, it's going to take a while to get there.